I just talked to one of my good friends who's a very successful insurance agent, and he said that there's a couple of different insurance agents that he knows, and some people running Bitcoin ATM businesses, and they were just informed by some of their associates at banks, that they said they're clamping down on smoke shops. So people using their credit or debit cards at smoke shops, they're clamping down on that. And this reminds me of Operation Chokepoint. Government, they're not going to outlaw certain things like firearms or Bitcoin or smoking or eating meat or whatever it is. We talk about CBDCs a lot, central bank digital currencies, and people get worried that the government's not going to come out and just say, hey, we're using central bank digital currencies. They're just going to clamp you down and constrict you more and more, frog in the boiling pot, until you realize one day, oh my goodness, the taxes are so high on buying firearms and ammo, or they've cut off access to credit cards to buy firearms or smokes or red meat, grass-fed beef, Bitcoin, whatever it is, that all of a sudden you just wake up one day and it doesn't make sense to buy it anymore. It doesn't make sense to do it anymore. And I've seen this in my life in many ways, where there's different things that I've kind of stopped doing or not done as much just because it was uneconomical or not economical or just didn't make sense as much anymore. It was too burdensome. And some of those things are good and bad, and we're not going to get into that, but I'm sure there's some things in your life that you've kind of seen that too. This is what happens when you have a command and control economy run by Marxists, run by people that think they have all the answers in the world, and they're going to run computer models and AI. We see it. Obviously, the World Economic Forum gets the biggest fanfare, but they're just one of 1,000 organizations, 10,000 organizations that are doing things like this. NGOs, the Soros-led operations, all these different things out there that are trying to control every aspect of your life. And at the end of the day, the more resilient and reliant we are on ourselves and independent, the less we have to rely on all these people. And the reason I believe so many people are reliant on all these entities and global entities and looking for guidance and doing these different ridiculous making ridiculous decisions that go against their own future prospects is because we're so reliant on other things. We can't take care of ourselves. We aren't independent. We don't know how to hunt anymore. We don't know how to farm and grow our own garden. We don't know how to save our money to make it last. We have too much month at the end of our cash, or too much month at the end of our money, but it's not money. If you're using cash, if you're using fiat currencies, that's not money. Money has to be a store of value. So people that, again, have saved in Bitcoin over the last 10 years or the last 5 or the last 4 or 3, they are winning. They're the ones that are winning because it's rare. There's only 21 million. And over long periods of time, which is what savings is, capital, equity, you save over long periods of time to then deploy it into future things. One of the things I look forward to doing is taking Bitcoin over the course of the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is, and deploying it back into apartment complexes when I can start receiving more Bitcoin from my tenants and using that productive capital to go then produce more capital and give our residents a great experience. Or triple net leases, right? You go in and take your capital, and maybe I want to be a lot less hands-on. I'm going to go buy whatever, Tuffy Auto Centers or Walgreens or whatever it might be, and then hey, the company pays me to have that building and rent it back for me in the land. And those are things that I look forward to doing to provide services to the economy and to deploy my equity, my capital, my money, my true money, my store of value, storing my time and energy, storing it into that world. So I think this is so paramount right now, such a problem, because we have 63% of people can't afford their, they're living paycheck to paycheck. They can't afford things right now. They miss a paycheck or two, they're done. They're done. They're gone. They're now been sucked into the system. They're on government assistance, and a lot of them already are, I'm sure. And this is where the system starts cannibalizing itself. This is why you have people like James Lavish and many people talking about the debt spiral or things of that nature, right? Where the system's just starting to really cannibalize itself and starting to really speed up as we move forward here. So these are things to really monitor, really look for, really be careful of, because as these, the 1.7 trillion in credit card debt that Americans have, or the people can't afford a $400 emergency or a $1,000 emergency, whatever the different articles you might see. 63% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. This is all the symptoms of a debt-based fiat legacy monetary system. Period. End of story. That is it. If you have the opposite, think about this. If you have a fiat debt-based legacy monetary system that is constantly printing more currency, that means the value of those paper dollars you have, paper, just a piece of paper, get less and less and less. Like a Babe Ruth card. You get less and less. As Topps or Panini or Donruss, they print more of those cards, the value of the one you hold gets less. It's the same exact process with the dollar. And if you hold Bitcoin, a hard money, one that there's actually less of it over time, that means it gets rarer. That means you can purchase more with it. It's more valuable. There's more purchasing power. You can acquire 2 Walgreens for your triple net leases that you want, or you can acquire 5 apartment complexes instead of 1, or maybe you can't afford any because now your dollar, you're trying to save liabilities. You're trying to save these pieces of paper that keep losing value, which is a liability on your asset and liabilities, your balance sheet. Now you're getting poorer and poorer over time. This is why the average person is continuing to lose. As Robert Kiyosaki rightfully said, savers are losers. And what he meant is savers are losers in the sense they aren't thinking about how to get ahead in life, truly get ahead and make their cash work for them, but also because if you're saving dollars, which is what he was talking about, you're saving dollars, fiat currencies, any fiat currencies, you're losing over time. They are a liability because they lose value. You want things that you can put in your asset column that gain in value over time, either make you cash flow or gain in value over time. That's why saving in Bitcoin, saving in gold and silver are phenomenal ideas, in my opinion. Again, not financial advice, it's freedom advice. But putting things in your balance sheet for long periods of time, I'm talking 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 years, you don't want things that are going to go down in value over time. You have to have some cash in your balance sheet. And as we talk about our portfolio investment letter that we do monthly, I show you exactly what we're doing. And in the future, that's going to be probably a paid thing that I do monthly, and I'm going to have even a more in-depth monthly article that we're going to have a paid subscription of maybe $5 or $10 a month or something like that. If you do a yearly subscription, it's $5 or $7 a month or something like that. It comes out to, and we'll do a more in-depth article. I'll probably show you the actual things I'm doing, and right now we just do the portfolio allocation, what the percentages are. I'll show you exactly what we're doing. It's fairly simple, but there's a common theme behind it, and that's what I want to show people over time, and probably have access to maybe a Voxer channel or something like that, that we can bounce ideas back and forth or something like that, like a Discord or a Slack channel or something to that effect. But that'll be for a paid thing that I'm going to start this year. And so let me know if that would be of interest to you. I would love to know if anyone here would be of interest. But that's the blog, the Substack I have in the description below. And so let me know your thoughts on that. But this is the time we find ourselves in. It's time to get serious about being reliant, getting your cash outside the legacy system and putting it into hard assets, getting some firearms, some ammo, some security, some water, some food storage, knowing how to garden, some seeds, getting that ramped up and building. And if you get some land, great, but some community. You need to build community. You need to know your ranchers, your farmers, your local sheriff, the people around you that are there to protect you, your constitution, provide you food, support your local businesses. That is the biggest thing that we can really do as people to be less reliant on government going forward. Community is the number one thing in any survival situation. So appreciate you. Please share this out. The algorithm hates truth, hates these talks. We are our own best defense against the darkness. Question everything in boldness, even the existence of God himself. Trust but verify what I am saying. And this is not financial advice, it is freedom advice. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.